Okay, just waiting to go live here now. I think it's still processing. There we are. I think it's all working fine now. Okay, everybody. Hello. So it's our first live. I'm very excited for you guys to start this week. It's day number 1 here at CM Holistic Nutrition and Wellness for the Hashimoto's Thriver Challenge. And I'm really so excited for you guys to be here and really taking that time for yourself to build on maybe some key strategies that we're going to be just touching on during this week. So I want to get started to honor your time. And I'm just going to give you a quick intro again of myself and who I am and what I do so that you get an idea of what I do and where I'm coming from. So again, my name is Cordula and I'm a registered holistic nutritionist. I graduated from the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition in Canada. And I have been a wellness and nutrition coach ever since. My background really is very corporate, and I was living a very hectic lifestyle prior, very result oriented. But really the main reason I think, or the main drive that got me into the whole, hi Monica, the whole nutrition and wellness field is there's different triggers and different reasons that got me in there. But I think the main reason obviously is that I was myself diagnosed with Hashimoto's almost 10 years ago now. But really looking back and retroactively looking into my past health history, there were signs and symptoms of my thyroid being out of whack, hormonal imbalances, really a lot of stuff going on. And I just wish that back then I would have had somebody who could have helped and guided me along my way so that it would have been a little bit easier for me because, as we all know, developing a autoimmune disease is very stressful, and there's a lot of ups and downs, and there's a lot of navigating you have to do, and there's a lot of trying to figure things out. And when you're on your own, it's really tough. And so I went back to nutrition school because I was so interested in figuring out what is actually happening in my body, and then really made it my life's purpose and passion to support other women now with an autoimmune disease, to, give them my helping hand and guide them along the way with delicious nutrition and lifestyle changes to really help them break the cycle and get unstuck. So this is really just a little bit about myself. But today, I really want to talk about our first unit, which is mindset and mindfulness. And I chose this unit because it is the number one key area you have to address when you're dealing with an autoimmune disease. And I say that because when you think about it, you can do everything right. You can do nutrition, you can have the perfect diet. You can have the perfect exercise regimen. You can have the perfect supplement protocol. And yet I see so many women who believe they have everything in place and they still feel all the symptoms and they still are stuck. So that is where your mindset comes in. Because number one is you have to believe and you really have to feel that deep inside you, you are going to feel better. You really have to have faith and trust in you and your body. Really believe that your body has its own healing abilities. You just have to give it the right stuff. And you have to believe in your body, and you have to trust your body. You have to say, okay, body, I'm now going to totally support you. And I know that down the road, you will get better. So it has been shown that the number one root of imbalance is really chronic emotional and mental stress. So when the daily stuff is just getting to you and you feel as if you never really get a chance to wind down and to reset, this is where it all happens. This is where you start to run down mentally and physically. You never hit the pause button. You never take care of yourself because you always try to take care of everybody else and everything else that needs to be done. And so it's really time for us to now step back from that and start to look after ourselves and start to realize that we are important and to really implement some strategies that remind us that we need to take care of ourselves on a daily basis. Because if we don't do that, then we'll continue to feel foggy and groggy, right? A lot of us feel just exhausted, foggy, with the brain fog all the time. Or we feel frustrated and fatigued. We feel the strain and the pain, and we're just running on empty. There's nothing left because we go, and we just don't take the time in our busy days to just honor ourselves and to look after ourselves. If we don't look after ourselves, nobody else will. And our bodies rely on us. So if we decide in our minds, I am going to get better, I'm determined to get better, and I know I can, then your body will respond and your body will say, let's work together. So the key, though, in all of this mindfulness and mindset is it's not the big things, right? So it's not the big changes that is going to bring you long-term relief. It's not the perfect meditation series that you're going to do every day. It's not going to be the perfect yoga stretch series that you implement every day, right? Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Imelda. How are you guys? So good to see you. Come on in. Yeah, join us. So it's not the big things that we are trying to incorporate. I mean, if we get there at one point in our lives, if we're able to really sit down and take the 30 minutes and meditate, that's amazing. Meditation is wonderful for you. But what I really want to establish here with us is how can we incorporate mindfulness and a positive mindset in our daily practice. So does that make sense to you guys? Give me a comment, just drop anything saying, yeah, that's totally, me. I'm not looking after myself on a regular basis during the day. I go, I run, I do this and that for my kids, for my partner, for whoever I need to take care of. And I oftentimes just forget about myself, right? And so just recognizing that and taking a pause throughout the day is super important so that we can then implement strategies to build us back up. And tonight I would like to give you some of my own personal tips and tricks that I myself incorporated during all those past 10 years of recovering from a Hashimoto's. And at any time, if you have any questions, just pop them in the comments or let me know so I can address that here. If there's nothing right now, I'm just going to keep going and you guys let me know. So what comes first when we think about mindset and mindfulness is number one, You have to make a conscious decision. And I touched on that a little earlier before you guys jumped on board, Tiffany and Melda. So you have to make a conscious decision. You have to make a conscious decision that from now on forward, you will take steps that will make you feel better, that will get you either close to remission or, let's say, symptom free. You have to be very specific with what you desire for yourself. You have to be very specific so that you can be accountable. So make that decision today and write it down. I really encourage you to write all of this down to keep track. Because oftentimes, what I saw it with myself and I see it with my clients as well, is that in your mind, in your head, yes, I do want to feel better, of course, right? I have an autoimmune disease. I have all my symptoms, digestive upsets. I feel moody. I have no energy. I feel frustrated, exhausted, and you want to get out of it. But if you're not being specific, and then if you incorporate certain strategies with nutrition or exercise or supplements, you might get better, but I promise you, you forget what you felt like 6 months ago. And that is because you still might have symptoms and you still focus on the negative or what is still not working for you. For example, you might say, I still feel that my energy is really low. I still can't get out of bed in the morning, or I still can't make it through the day without like 3 cups of coffee. However, during those 6 months, you have been going to the bathroom more regularly. You have been detoxing more regularly. You have been maybe sleeping better, right? And so then you look into other areas that still need to be addressed in order to get better even more. So you have to look back in order to define where you're at, and to see how far you've come. And that's why you have to be very specific with your decision making. So what I want you to do today or this week maybe is take a piece of paper and write down what you want for yourself and be very specific. Tell yourself, by the end of 3 weeks or in 3 months from now, I don't want to feel bloated anymore, and write that down. And that leads me into step number 2, which then goes into the whole accountability. Because you need to be accountable for yourself in order to achieve your goals, right? You have to track them. And not only that, so you also have to let everybody else in your environment know that you're from now on starting to look after yourself, that you might change a few things in your environment, whether it's in your house, in your home, or whether it's with your friends, your activities, just to make sure that, everybody's aware and that you're not afraid of falling back into old habits. Because when you think about it, you're here for a reason. You want to change, right? There's still something going on in your Hashimoto's health journey that is not optimal. And in order to see changes, you have to incorporate changes. And sometimes it's really difficult to do when your immediate environment is not expecting it from you, right? Unknowingly, they might be even holding you back, right? So that is what I experienced. I knew I had to make changes, and I was trying to figure out what I had to do for myself in order to get better. But in the beginning, I was kind of like hiding it from everybody because, sometimes in the Hashimoto's world is that people don't really see that you're sick because you appear to be normal. And some people might even think it's all in your head. And some people might think that you're taking yourself too seriously. So I oftentimes just decided for myself, I need to do things differently. But then when people realized that I was changing, they were questioning myself, and then I was falling back into my old habits. So that's why I say it's really, really important to let your friends and family know that you made a decision and that you're moving forward in implementing some changes for yourself. So that is number 2. So first you make your decision, you write it down, you set your goals, you really feel and be positive about that you're going to change, that you will feel better, you're supporting your body is ready to go. It has all the healing abilities, and you're just supporting it. Then you set your goals, and then you work on that accountability. So number 3 is actually setting goals. And when you make your decision, you start to make goals for yourself. And that is very important. You need to write down your goals or be very clear on your goals. And your goals have to be realistic too. So if I were to tell you that, let's say you're somebody with Hashimoto's and you have extreme digestive upsets, like to such a point that you have stomach aching, stomach cramps, your digestion is off, you can't go to the bathroom properly, you're constipated, or you're fatigued to such an extent that you can't even make it through the day without a nap. So then if you set the goal that in 3 weeks from now, you'll be running like a half marathon, that's just, it's not realistic, right? Or let's say even that in 3 weeks from now, you'll be able to completely have your sleep under control, and you'll be able to completely go to sleep without problems, and then sleeping through the night without any issues, and then getting up feeling fully rejuvenated is probably not very likely to achieve in 3 weeks. So set yourself realistic goals and start slow, right? So for example, if you have the extreme fatigue, which a lot of us do, set yourself a goal and say, okay, from now on, in 3 weeks from now, I want to have a really good sleep hygiene routine in place that will allow me to fall asleep much better and easier than now. Or you can say, I have these stomach cramps. So in 3 weeks from now, I want to be at a point where I know when these stomach cramps come on, right? Whether it's after I eat a certain food, whether it's after I've been going through a really stressful experience, or whether it's I didn't get enough sleep, whatever it is, right? So you get the idea. Just the little steps and the realistic goal setting is very important. But then for the future, start slow, but yet dream big, right? So say like in 1 year from now, or even 6 months from now, I really want to be a different person. That is what I wish for myself, what I hope for myself, just to keep the motivation going, and also to give you something to really look forward to. So that is step number 3. And then step number 4 is you need to start with little steps. In order to achieve your goals, you need to start with little steps. So I talked about that a little bit earlier in saying that there's these big themes out there that we can certainly incorporate if we are in a position to, such as a meditation routine, a yoga routine, everyday mindfulness practices. All of that is amazing if you can do it. But what I found for myself in the very beginning of my health journey, I didn't even have a clue what all of that meant, right? So I heard people talk about meditation and gratefulness practices, and it all sounded very good, but I wasn't even in a position where I could just incorporate that into my own daily life, right? I had small kids to look after. I was working in a corporate environment. I had a commute every day. I had to cook every day for the family, myself, when coming back from the office. So I wasn't even able to go through the day with just looking after myself every once in a while. So how the heck was I going to be able to sit down for like 30 minutes and do a meditation practice? That is why I would like you guys to start small. And even myself now, I'm going back to the regular small steps on a daily basis. So what do I mean by that, by the small steps? So there's a few things that are extremely helpful and that everybody can do, and that really you reap so many benefits from them. So let me start and let me go through them with you. Unless there's any questions about anything that I just said. I don't see anything. Okay, so let's continue. So when you think about mindfulness in a day-to-day setting, what does that mean? Mindfulness means to pause, to take a break anytime during the day to refocus and to rejuvenate. So that can look like, for example, we talk about nutrition. Tomorrow we're going to be talking nutrition. So let's look at nutrition from a different perspective. Let's look at nutrition from a body-mind perspective. So, okay, who of you guys, when you sit down for a meal, is actually going to take a deep breath in before you start your meal? I'm thinking that a lot of people here, in general, set the table, sit down, and then you start eating. I hear that often. Maybe not all of you, but it's very common. And it's so bad. It's bad for you, for your nutrition intake, but it's also bad for your whole mindset and how you see food and how you nourish yourself. Because when you look at food, food itself is alive. It's something that you nourish your body with. Food is something that you eat every day. You nourish yourself every day. It's not just putting something in your mouth and chewing it because you have that rumbly in your tummy. It is something that you're ingesting and your body uses it to rebuild its cells. So when you look at nutrition and food that way, it all of a sudden it becomes so much more. And a mindfulness practice would be to pause a second before you start eating. You sit down at the table with your family and your loved ones, And you pause a second, and whether you say a prayer, which is really mindfulness, or whether you just take a deep breath, look at your food, look at it with your senses, see the colors, see the love that prepared the food, and take a deep breath, which shifts your nervous system from fight or flight into rest and digest. Take a few breaths in, and then you start eating. So when you do that, you're much calmer, and you're going to allow your body to be able to absorb so much of the nutrients that you are going to ingest. And your mind is relaxing too, because you can really, when you focus on the colors and the presentation and think about, the love that was put into preparing that meal, it really makes you feel good. So that is really something really simple you can do on a daily basis in order to give you that quick rest and the quick mindfulness technique before you start eating. Another one that I wrote down, which I was going to share with you, is let's see, I was going to do this a little later. So when you get up in the morning, you don't have to pressure yourself and say, okay, today I'm going to be doing my 30-minute gratefulness practice, or my 30-minute journaling, or whatever it is. Maybe you're not ready yet. Maybe it's stressing you out to even think about adding something new into your daily routine, right? But it is very simple and easy to, when you get up in the morning, the first thing you do is you get up and you stretch. And you stretch. I mean, I don't know if you guys have cats, but when you watch a cat, what the cat does after her nap every single time, it's funny to watch. I have 2 cats, and it's really funny to see how they are bending their backs. It's insane how flexible they are. But they do that every single time. And that's amazing. And that's what we need to do. We're not moving around anyways enough in our daily lives. And especially when you stand up from a lying position, you slept all night, your body is stiff, you might have some aches and pains. You want to start to get the blood moving and the lymph flowing. And it's very simple to do. If you just get up and when you stretch yourself, like really, like stretch your arms up over your head, or even get down on your knees and arms and really do that cat pose, the bridging of your back. It's amazing. When I do it every morning. And every morning I hear cracks in my spine. And I was so worried that I went to my chiropractor and said, oh my goodness, am I doing something wrong? I feel like as if my disc is just about to pop. And he said, it's great that you hear that, because it is allowing airflow and blood into the crevices of your spine. So you're expanding your spine and let all the good blood flow along with nutrition and nutrients into that area. So that is a really great tip too for you to do on a daily basis, just to get that stretching in. And it feels good too. It's a very mindful, and it gives you that moment of pause to look after yourself. Then there was another one that I was going to share with you. We talked about the mindful eating. Oh yes. So going back to nutrition one last time, or mealtime this time, is make mealtime a happy time. So You know, um, looking after ourselves on a daily basis is somewhat challenging because we're so enveloped in our tasks and routines and to-do lists that we don't often sometimes we don't take joy anymore in the routine and the day-to-day stuff that we have to do. So that especially goes for meal time. What I see often, and I have to say we went through that phase ourselves with having two young girls, is that mealtime can be very stressful. There's always the notion of what if the kids don't eat it, or what if my partner doesn't like it, or um, I didn't have enough time to prepare it properly. Maybe it doesn't taste so good. Whatever it is, it can be very stressful. And just letting go of that is very, very important. The meals don't have to be perfect. And if you follow a recipe and you don't have all the ingredients, don't stress out. Or if you follow a recipe and it doesn't turn out the way it's supposed to, don't stress out. You took the time to prepare a meal for yourself and your family. You put all your love into that meal to prepare, and it will nourish your body. It doesn't have to be perfect. Same thing with the kids. It's sometimes it's really, really challenging to have a happy mealtime when there's kids at the table. But don't stress, right? Don't stress. Just keep presenting them with the food that you're cooking and tell them to just keep eating it and trying new meals and new foods. And if they don't like it, they don't have to finish it, but they have to at least try and make sure to fill their tummies enough so that they're not hungry anymore. Right? So don't try to please everybody with the meals around mealtime. Make sure that you prepare meals that look good for you, that you're happy with, that you think are appropriate for you and your family, and just completely take the stress out of it. So that mealtime becomes a really happy time, because we're eating every day. So we don't want that extra stress in our lives. And so if you step away from that, you'll see that you will even then create a moment of mindfulness and joy in your lives. So those are just simple techniques that you can incorporate in your day-to-day to really set your mind into a positive mindset, about really moving forward into your healthy health journey, into your Hashimoto's thriver journey, I would say. That is. Yeah, and then lastly, what I just wanted to also say is if once you start to be more aware of those little things in your life, and once you have set your goals, and once you have made that decision that you are from now on going to feel better and become better, then you need to be consistent. And that is the old habit notion of it, right? It takes 21 days to break a habit. So try to be consistent with it. Sometimes, some days might be harder than others to be mindful of yourself and your healing journey, but you still have to try to incorporate these little mini pauses throughout the day on a regular basis, just so that you create a new habit for yourself and your body, so that you're consistently creating a positive environment, which will then catapult you forward into thriver mode. That is very, very important. And yeah, so I challenge you to take it all in and to think about which area in your daily lives you could tackle with a little bit of, mindfulness or a little bit of a pause. Yeah. And then when you do that and when you try to implement some of those strategies, I would love to see it. I would love you to let me know, or us in the group, so that we can all cheer each other on and maybe learn from each other too, right? Maybe somebody has a great idea that works for her, and so she can pass that on to the other person. And that is really the wrap up for the first unit today, the mindfulness mindset unit. Yeah, I hope that it was informative for you, and I hope it sparked a little bit of a positive mindset setting. And let me know how the recipes are going for you. If there's anything that you particularly like, or whether you have started cooking any of them yet, or what your plan is. Yeah, let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. Okay, so this is it for today. And if there's no more questions, I don't see any right now, but please feel free to post in the Facebook group or let me know anything that's on your heart. I'm here to support you this week, and yeah, let's have fun. So that's it from me for tonight, and I will see you again tomorrow when we talk about nutrition. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you guys later. Bye.